In recent years, businesses have lost billions to scams that impersonate trusted vendors. A criminal slips in one fake invoice or changes a single payment detail, and just like that, the money's gone. These messages look exactly like the ones you already expect, right down to the logo, wording, and timing. Here's the problem. You can't spot these fakes just by looking at them. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the double-check rule. It's a simple habit you can start using today to stop most of these scams. No extra software, no added IT cost, just a smarter safeguard against the kind of payment request you'd never think to question. Picture this. A small business gets what appears to be a routine invoice from a trusted supplier, only later they discover the payment went straight into a criminal's account. It's not a far-fetched scenario. Vendor impersonation is one of the fastest-growing ways attackers steal from businesses. They don't need to breach your systems to make it happen. They just need to convincingly pose as someone you already rely on. These scams work because they target the predictable patterns between you and your vendors. Invoices arrive on familiar days. Payment reminders hit at expected times. The sender's name, tone, and email format feel right. Scammers study those habits closely, then copy them perfectly. They'll replicate logo placement, invoice templates, and even legitimate email signatures. They time their fake request to arrive exactly when you expect a real one, often by spoofing a vendor's email address or taking over a legitimate account. Here's how they get you. Once their timing is perfect, the criminal only needs you to act automatically. This is where business email compromise comes in, or BEC for short. These scams take different forms, but two of the most common are CEO fraud and the false invoice scheme. CEO fraud happens when an attacker poses as a top executive and pressures finance staff to send money immediately. The false invoice scheme targets vendor relationships. The scammer poses as a supplier to announce a new bank account for payments. Each transfer goes to the attacker instead of the vendor, often without anyone suspecting for weeks. Remember, many breaches stay hidden for months. So a vendor impersonation scam can drain your accounts before anyone notices. Unlike ransomware, vendor impersonation relies on social engineering. No malware needed. So your normal security tools won't flag it. That's why the FBI reports BEC scams have caused tens of billions in global losses, hitting organizations of every size. Consider a typical case. A finance team gets an invoice from a familiar supplier during the usual billing cycle. The email address matches what they've seen before. The amount lines up with past orders. The only difference? The payment instructions point to a new account. Without a second thought, the team wires the funds. By the time the real supplier follows up on missed payment, the money is long gone. Transferred overseas and nearly impossible to recover. Here's where it gets expensive. Even well-trained teams fall for this. Why? Because the details match the pattern perfectly. Attackers often spend weeks watching email exchanges. They capture the exact phrasing, dollar range, and timing. By the time their request hits your inbox, it's been crafted for a quick approve and pay response. The reality is harsh. Your strongest business relationships can become your biggest security weakness. Criminals exploit your trust, your daily routines, the assumption that familiar-looking emails are safe. But here's the good news. Recognizing this risk is the first step. Stopping it takes a simple change in how you handle payment requests. And that's where one focused, one-minute habit can shift the odds back in your favor. Here's how you make your payments scam-resistant with one simple habit, the double-check rule. It takes just a minute and it works like this. First, never act on payment requests or bank detail changes you receive by email. Second, call the vendor using a phone number you already have on file, not one listed in the email. Third, if the request is urgent or over your set dollar threshold, require a second person to sign off before funds leave your account. Always use a channel you already trust. If you normally talk to your vendor by phone, confirm changes there. If you see them in person, ask face-to-face. The point is to take verification outside the possibly compromised path. Keep a verified vendor contact list. Treat any banking or contact updates as high-risk changes that must be confirmed off-channel before payment. Some worry this slows business down. Here's the math. Losing 60 seconds to confirm is nothing compared to losing 60,000 to a scam. Criminals succeed when you move fast and stick to your routines without question. By slowing down and adding an intentional pause, you break the rhythm they're counting on. Adding a maker-checker step makes this even harder for attackers. This standard finance control means one person creates the payment and another approves it. That way, a scam must pass two sets of trusted eyes instead of one, which doubles your chances of catching something suspicious. All you need to make this work is simple. A short list of verified contacts, a set dollar value or urgency trigger for two-person reviews, clear agreement on what confirmation means in your business. For example, you might decide that any change in account number or payment process is an automatic call to the vendor before action. These rules are easy to put in place. They can fit into existing workflows without any new software. Think of the double-check rule like locking your front door. You don't expect a break-in every night, but the habit makes it much harder for someone to walk in uninvited. The same applies here. Most vendor emails are genuine, but the rare fake can cost you dearly. This extra step blocks them before money moves. Here's what stops them cold. We regularly see near-miss situations where a single phone call stops a fraudulent wire. Everything about the email looks right: logos, language, timing. But a quick off-channel check exposes it as fake. That short pause turns a potential loss into a save. Bottom line, attackers use social engineering to manipulate people, not systems. They create a sense of urgency, mirror your trusted routines, hit when you're least likely to slow down. The double-check rule interrupts that process. It forces you to pause, verify, and remove their leverage. What's the riskiest type of communication your business receives from its vendors? Tell me in the comments. I'll read through the examples and reply to a few. Your input might help another business spot a scam before it's too late. By turning this into a business habit, you close one of the most common paths criminals use to drain accounts. It's straightforward, costs nothing, and gives you a clear first line of defense, ready to protect both your balance sheet and the trust you've built with your customers. Right now, take 60 seconds to make your business harder to scam. Pick your top 3 vendors and confirm at least one phone number you already have on file for each. This one quick action sets you up to verify any future bank detail change without hesitation. The key takeaway is that a quick, consistent verification step can act as your first line of defense. Don't wait. Watch our next video to uncover common myths that are leaving businesses exposed.